Lagos never sleeps. The streets hum with restless energy, car horns blaring, hawkers shouting, the chaos of ambition filling the humid evening air. From her tiny balcony in Suraleh, Amoka watched the sun dip behind the skyline, painting the city gold before darkness swallowed it whole. She was 26, a quiet girl in a loud city, with a dream that felt too big for her one-room apartment. By day, she worked as an assistant at a small PR firm on Victoria Island. By night, she chased sleep while fighting off the constant hum of generators and the worry that her life was passing her by. "Amoka, abeg, you dey go market tomorrow," her neighbor, Mama Kemi, shouted from below, breaking her thoughts. "Yes, Ma," Amoka replied softly, smiling politely though her mind was elsewhere. Her phone buzzed on the railing beside her. She glanced at the screen, another missed call from Sigan. She sighed, picking it up. Sigan was safe. Predictable. The kind of man her mother said every girl should marry, stable job, nice car, good family. The problem was, every conversation with him felt like drinking lukewarm tea, no spark, no thrill, just safe. She unlocked her phone and typed. "Sorry, busy at work. Talk later." She deleted it. Then typed again. "We'll call you tomorrow." Delete. With a frustrated sigh, she dropped the phone. That's when her younger sister, Chidra, barged into the room, smelling like lip gloss and expensive perfume. "Amoka, you're still here. Dress up, Jo. Let's go out. Mainland is dead tonight, we're hitting Ekoi." "I can't," Amoka said, rolling her eyes. "I'm tired." "Tired? Or you're just afraid to leave small?" Chidra teased, tossing a sequin bag on the bed. "You just sit here scrolling Instagram and wishing you were those girls, ABI. Oh yeah, wear something nice." "I'm not taking no for an answer." And just like that, Amoka found herself squeezed into the back seat of Chidra's friend's car, the city lights blurring past. The club in Ekoi was nothing like the quiet evenings she loved. Strobe lights, music so loud her heart seemed to match its rhythm, and the overpowering scent of designer colognes. Chidra disappeared almost immediately into the crowd, leaving Amoka nursing a glass of orange juice at the bar. That was when she noticed him. He wasn't the flashiest man in the room, no gold chains, no loud Gucci shirt. Just a clean white shirt, dark jeans, and a quiet confidence that made her look twice. He was laughing at something a friend said, his smile easy, unguarded, like someone who didn't need to try too hard. As if sensing her gaze, he looked up. Their eyes met. And for a moment, Lagos, the noise, the crowd, the chaos, faded. He smiled, a small, knowing smile, and walked over. "You look like someone who doesn't belong here," he said, voice deep, calm, with the faintest trace of a British accent. Amoka blinked, unsure what to say. "Is that supposed to be an insult?" He chuckled. "Not at all. Just an observation. I'm turned, by the way." "Amoka," she replied, her voice softer than she intended. "Nice to meet you, Amoka who doesn't belong here," he teased lightly. "Can I sit?" They talked for an hour, maybe two, about books, the madness of Lagos traffic, the quiet beauty of Takwebe, and how they both hated parties like this. He was a software engineer, he said, just back from the UK after 6 years. She told him about her PR job, how she wanted to start her own farm one day but didn't know where to begin. There was an ease to their conversation, a warmth that made her forget the sticky heat and the thumping music. When he finally asked for her number, it felt natural, inevitable. By the time Chidra dragged her out of the club at 2 a.m., Amoka's phone was buzzing with a text. "Turned, get home safe." Tonight was unexpected. In a good way. She smiled into the darkness of the car, clutching her phone like a secret. Over the next few weeks, Lagos felt different. Mornings began with his good morning text. Afternoons were filled with random calls that made her laugh in the middle of stressful workdays. On weekends, they explored quiet corners of the city, sipping coffee at small cafes in Lekki, eating suya on the beach, or walking under the blinking streetlights of Marina when the city finally slept. For the first time in years, Amoka felt seen. Not the version of her that everyone expected, the quiet, responsible girl, but her. The girl with wild dreams and hidden fears, the one who wanted more from life but didn't know how to ask for it. But Lagos is a city that tests every love story. One evening, 3 months after they met, Town invited her to a rooftop restaurant overlooking the lagoon. The city lights shimmered below like scattered diamonds as a soft breeze cut through the humid air. "I got a job offer," he said, his expression unreadable. Her heart skipped. "A job offer? Here or in London?" he said. "A big project. 6 months, maybe a year." The words hung in the air between them, sharp and heavy. "Oh," she managed, forcing a smile. That's great. Congratulations." "Amoka," he said gently, reaching for her hand, "I don't want to lose this." "Lose you?" "But I don't know how to make it work from there." She stared at him, her mind spinning. She wanted to tell him she'd wait, that their connection was too strong to let go. But the reality of Lagos, of distance, of time zones, of missed calls, loomed large. And in that moment, with the city below them and her heart in her throat, Amoka realized something terrifying. She was in love. Amoka's mornings used to start with hurried alarms and noisy downfall buses. Now, they started with the smooth hum of Daniel's Lexus pulling up in front of her hostel, the warm aroma of coffee he always brought along, and that smile that made her stomach flutter like a butterfly caught in a glass jar. To her friends, it was a dream. "Babe, you done hammer." Ngozi would squeal as they gathered in their shared room at the hostel, adjusting their wigs in the cracked mirror. "A man like that? He no easy. I swear, I for done drop my own boyfriend since." Amoka only smiled, tucking the words in the corner of her heart. Daniel wasn't just another flashy Lagos guy with money and empty promises. He listened. He remembered things, like how she loved meat pie with extra onions, or how she never liked loud parties. When they went out, he always held the car door for her, always kept his hand light on her back like a quiet reassurance. But in Lagos, good things rarely come without whispers. The first came at her cousin's wedding in Suralere. She had barely stepped into the hall when an older aunt with sharp eyes pulled her aside. "Amoka, come here. Who is this boy you're always with? I heard things, oh. Is he not that big boy from Ekoi? Those types don't settle. Shine your eyes, my dear." She laughed it off, brushing away the comment, but the words lingered. That night, as she and Daniel sat on the balcony of his apartment overlooking the lagoon, she couldn't stop staring at him. "Why are you looking at me like that?" he asked, setting down his wine glass. "No reason," she said, but her voice betrayed her. "Amoka." His tone was soft but firm. "Talk to me." She hesitated, then sighed. "People talk, Daniel. They say you're not serious." "That you?" He interrupted her gently. "That I break your heart." She nodded. He leaned forward, resting his elbows on his knees. "Amoka, I can't control what people say. Lagos is full of noise. But you're the only thing that feels real in my life right now. I need you to believe that." Something in his eyes, a quiet sincerity, almost fragile, made her chest tighten. Still, Lagos had its own way of testing people. The first test came when her mother fell ill back in the village. The hospital bills piled up quickly, and despite her modest savings, Amoka found herself struggling. She never told Daniel, pride kept her silent, but one night, as they sat at Freedom Park listening to live music, he reached for her hand. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked softly. She froze. Tell you what? That your mother is sick. Amoka, I'm not blind. You've been distracted. Withdrawn. Tears burned her eyes. I didn't want you to think I'm using you. He shook his head. This isn't about money. It's about partnership. Let me help. The next morning, 1.5 million Nigerian nairas appeared in her account. No words, no fanfare. Just the quiet message, for Mama. She deserves the best care. For a while, everything felt perfect. Then the second test came, this one uglier, sharper, designed to pierce through trust. It started with a random Instagram post. A girl, beautiful and flawless in her designer outfit, tagged Daniel at a restaurant in Victoria Island. The caption read, "Back where we started, Black Heart #forever us." Amoka stared at the screen for a long time, her chest tightening with something she didn't want to name. She tried to ignore it. But when another post appeared a week later, this time with Daniel's unmistakable wristwatch in the frame, she couldn't hold it in. "Who is she?" she asked one evening, her voice barely steady as they sat in his car, parked outside her hostel. Daniel looked at her, expression unreadable. "Amoka. Don't Amoka me. Who is she? Are you?" "No," his voice was calm but firm. "She's someone I knew. Someone from a long time ago. But there's nothing between us now." "But she's posting like..." "Like what?" he interrupted. "Like she still has a place in my life." "She doesn't." "You do." The words should have soothed her, but doubt is a stubborn seed. That night, she scrolled through the girl's Instagram feed until her eyes hurt, comparing herself to every curated, filtered image. And then came the phone call that shattered her fragile calm. Ngozi's voice on the other end was sharp with urgency. "Babe, are you sitting down? Because what I just saw. Daniel, they toast another girl at Quillox. I swear, I see with my eye." Amoka's hands shook as she ended the call. She didn't confront him immediately. Instead, she stayed up all night replaying every moment they'd shared, every word he'd said. By morning, her decision was made. When Daniel arrived to pick her up, she didn't wait for him to speak. "I think we should take a break," she said, voice trembling but steady enough to hide the storm inside. He stared at her, stunned. "A break? Amoka, where is this coming from?" I need to figure things out," she whispered. For the first time since they met, Daniel looked powerless, like someone watching a glass slip from their hands in slow motion. "Okay," he said finally, his voice rough. "If that's what you want. But I'm not letting you go without a fight." As he drove away, Amoka felt the weight of the city pressing down on her. Lagos, with its bright lights and unspoken dangers, had turned her heart into a battlefield. And deep down, a quiet voice whispered, "This isn't over." Not yet. The room was silent, the hum of the air conditioner the only sound between them. Ada stared at the man in front of her, Teo, unsure of what to say. His confession still hung heavy in the air. "I've loved you since the first day I saw you," he said again, softer this time, almost like he was afraid the words might break her. Ada's hands trembled on her lap. She had spent so many nights crying over Delhi, so many days blaming herself for everything that went wrong. And now here was Teo, steady, calm, offering her something she had stopped believing in, love that didn't hurt. "Teo," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Why now? Why tell me this now?" He leaned forward, his gaze steady. "Because you deserve to know. And because I can't keep pretending. I've seen you at your worst, Ada. I've seen you fight through pain no one should have to endure. And still, you shine. You make people believe in something better, even when you don't believe it yourself." Ada blinked back tears, her throat tight. "I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I can trust again." Then don't, Theo said, his tone gentle but firm. Don't trust me right away. Let me earn it. Just, let me be here. No expectations. No pressure. Just me, and you. For a long moment, Ada said nothing. She stared at him, this man who had been her quiet anchor for months without asking for anything in return. And for the first time in a long time, she felt something in her chest that wasn't pain. Hope. Over the next few weeks, things changed between them, though neither of them spoke of it. Theo was always there, dropping by after work with food, making her laugh on days when she thought she had forgotten how, listening to her without judgment. Slowly, Ada began to heal. She started writing again, not for clients but for herself, scribbling her thoughts into a leather-bound journal Theo had bought her. She began meeting friends for coffee, accepting invitations she would have ignored before. She even visited her parents in Suralere, laughing with her mother in the kitchen as if the world wasn't still fragile beneath her feet. And through it all, Theo was there. One Saturday, he invited her to a quiet beach on the outskirts of Lagos. It wasn't the crowded Elegushi or Onairo, this one was almost empty, a hidden gem only locals seemed to know. They sat on the sand as the waves lapped gently against the shore, the sun setting in hues of orange and pink. You know, Theo said, tossing a pebble into the water, I used to think love was supposed to be loud. Grand gestures, big promises, all of that. But then I met you. Ada turned to him, raising an eyebrow. And what am I teaching you, Mr. Theo? That love can be quiet, he said simply. It can be steady. It can feel like home. Ada's breath caught. She wanted to say something, anything, but the words stuck in her throat. So instead, she reached for his hand. And for the first time in months, she didn't feel broken. She felt, oh. 3 months later, Ada was different. Her blog was gaining traction again, but this time, she wasn't writing about pain. She wrote about healing, about hope, about second chances. Her readers noticed. Emails poured in, people sharing their own stories of heartbreak and recovery.